Outside Buckingham Palace, Australian Senator Lidia Thorpe made a statement that reverberated far beyond London. She stood before the palace gates, not as a tourist, but as a proud Indigenous woman holding the Aboriginal flag high and wearing a Black Sovereign Movement t-shirt. With a raised middle finger, she delivered a blunt message to the heart of British colonial power. Her social media post was equally direct. "Dropped by to collect all the stuff this lot stole, but Charlie wasn't in." This was no spontaneous outburst, it was a calculated protest, bringing the fight for Indigenous justice to the monarch's doorstep. For Thorpe, the palace represents centuries of dispossession and ongoing denial of her people's rights. The image of her lone defiance became a symbol: strength, sovereignty, and a demand for accountability. Her message was unmistakable. The conversation about colonialism is far from over. To understand the protest, you must understand Lidia Thorpe. A Gunai, Gunditj Mara, and Djab Wurrung woman, she's the first Aboriginal senator from Victoria, known for her uncompromising activism. Thorpe's politics are rooted in lived experience. She's fought for land rights, justice for deaths in custody, and the protection of sacred sites. Her break from the Greens in 2023 cemented her as an independent voice, prioritising Indigenous sovereignty above party lines. Supporters see her as a fighter who brings grassroots struggles to the highest levels of power. She absorbs criticism because for her the fight for justice outweighs personal comfort. For many, Thorpe is more than a senator. She's a warrior for her people. Thorpe's confrontation with the monarchy began before London. In 2024, during King Charles III's visit to Australia, she disrupted a formal reception at Parliament House. Her words cut through the ceremony. "You're not my king. You're not sovereign. You committed genocide against our people. Give us our land back." The room fell silent as she demanded a treaty and the return of stolen remains and artifacts. Security moved to remove her, but her protest only grew louder. "We want a treaty. This is not your land." Her final words, FK the colony, left no doubt about her rejection of Australia's colonial arrangements. The Senate quickly censured her, 46-12, for disruptive conduct. Yet for Thorpe and her supporters, the censure was a badge of honour. It proved her words struck a nerve, forcing the establishment to react. The message challenged the system, and the system punishes the messenger. At the core of Thorpe's activism are three demands: sovereignty, treaty, and the return of stolen land and artifacts. She rejects the myth of terra nullius and asserts that Indigenous peoples never ceded their land. A treaty, she argues, is the only legitimate path forward, a formal recognition of sovereignty and a framework for justice. The return of land and cultural remains is not symbolic, it's restorative justice for generations of dispossession. Her quip about collecting the stuff this lot stole points directly to this painful history. These demands challenge the very foundation of modern Australia and its ties to the Crown. Thorpe insists there can be no reconciliation without truth, justice and reparations. For Indigenous Australians, the past is not history, it's a living reality. The British monarchy's response to Thorpe's protest: silence. Buckingham Palace issued no statement, seeking to deny the protest oxygen and maintain royal detachment. Yet, during the Canberra confrontation, King Charles and Queen Camilla were visibly unsettled by Thorpe's words. Media coverage split. Some praised the king's restraint. Others noted the crack in the royal facade. The palace's silence is strategic. Engagement would only amplify Thorpe's claims and force a reckoning with colonial history. The onus falls back on Australia to confront these questions. The king remains a distant figure, insulated by tradition, while the lived reality of colonisation persists. The gulf between coloniser and colonised remains vast and unaddressed. Thorpe's protest ignited fierce debate in Australia, exposing deep national divisions. Supporters hailed her as a legend, applauding her courage to speak truth to power. Critics, especially in conservative media, called her a disgrace and questioned the funding of her trip. Some pointed to the irony as a senator she swore allegiance to the king, yet publicly defied him. For supporters, this only highlighted the absurdity of the colonial system, using its platform to fight for liberation. The controversy revealed a nation struggling with its identity and unresolved colonial legacy. Thorpe's protest forced Australians to confront uncomfortable truths about who they are and who they want to be. The debate is no longer avoidable. Thorpe's protest is a symbol in Australia's ongoing struggle with its identity. It comes amid renewed debates about becoming a republic and the failure of the 2023 Indigenous Voice referendum. For many, her defiance is a response to the rejection of even modest reforms. Thorpe's actions force Australia to confront its contradictions, a modern nation clinging to colonial structures, denying true sovereignty to its First Peoples. Her gesture was more than protest. It was a demand for real change, not symbolic gestures. A new generation of Indigenous leaders is impatient for justice, land and recognition. The story of Australia is unfinished, and Thorpe's stand marks a new, more urgent chapter. And to all the royal fans watching, thank you for your unending support.